Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm Rory McLennan coming to you from Glasgow, Scotland. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. A report prepared by the Pontifical Foundation Aid to the Church in Need has revealed that religious freedom is facing serious threats across the world. The 15th annual report on religious freedom in the world has found that in 1 out of 3 nations, the fundamental right to practice one's faith is not respected, and people are being persecuted for their religion in 26 countries. The report also warns of the increasing Islamic radicalization of the African continent and a dramatic increase in the presence of jihadi groups. It also denounces the polite persecution in Western nations, where cultural norms come into conflict with a person's right to freedom of conscience. The report also highlights the trend of using technology to discriminate against believers. In the wake of a US court finding former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin guilty of the murder of George Floyd, the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops has issued a statement underlining the sacredness of human life and denouncing oppression. Along with Archbishop Bernard Hebda of Minneapolis, the bishops have sought prayers for racial healing and reconciliation in the face of still existing social injustice in the country. The statement also exhorts believers to rebuild what hatred and frustration have torn down. The death of George Floyd in police custody last year sparked massive protests led by the Black Lives Matter movement in the US and around the world, with many of them turning violent. In a separate incident, a church in Minneapolis was destroyed in a fire which broke out on Monday. While no one was hurt, police are probing the cause of the fire. The decision of the US National Institutes of Health to reverse the limits placed on human fetal tissue research by the previous Trump administration has been denounced by the US Bishops' Conference. In a statement issued by Archbishop Joseph Naumann of Kansas City, who heads the Committee for Pro-Life Activities, the bishops say the bodies of aborted babies deserve the same respect as those of any other individual. The statement says the government does not have the right to treat victims of abortion as a commodity that can be scavenged for body parts to be used in research. The bishops also point out how offensive it is to Americans that their tax money is being used for research collaborating with the abortion industry. The prelates also urge the Biden administration to fund research that does not use body parts of aborted babies. The Catholic bishops of the Philippines will consecrate their country to the patronage of St. Joseph on May the 1st. That is the feast day of St. Joseph the Worker. A 33-day spiritual preparation ahead of the consecration is already underway. The Philippines Episcopal Conference's Commission of Laity is overseeing the consecration, which is a key event in the ongoing Year of St. Joseph. The Holy Father Pope Francis had declared the Year of St. Joseph on December the 8th of last year, with the publication of the apostolic letter entitled Patris Corde, which means with a father's heart, marking the 150th anniversary of the declaration of St. Joseph as patron of the Universal Church by Pope Blessed Pius IX. Expressing solidarity with the state of California's National Crime Victims' Rights Week, which comes to a close on Saturday, April the 24th, the Catholic bishops of the state have published new pastoral guidelines to help the victims of violent crimes. The guidelines entitled Pastoral Support for Grieving a Violent Death, a Guide for Clergy, Lay Ministers and Community Helpers, is aimed at ensuring effective healing ministry among the victims of violent crimes and their families. Announcing the release, the Restorative Justice Committee of the California Catholic Bishops' Conference has urged everyone to comfort and accompany the victims, who are often, quote, unsure, embarrassed or angry. They said the pandemic had shown how important the community is. On Wednesday, April the 21st, the Church in Sri Lanka commemorated the 2nd anniversary of the tragic 2019 Easter Sunday bomb blasts, which killed more than 250 people and injured hundreds more. At 8:45 a.m, church bells rang across the island, and believers as well as people of other communities observed 2 minutes of silence as homage to the victims. At the shrine of St. Anthony in Colchicadi near Colombo, which was one of the targets of the attack, Archbishop of Colombo Cardinal Malcolm Ranjit offered a commemorative mass. It was also attended by representatives of other religious communities. A chapel of martyrs was consecrated in the cemetery of St. Sebastian's Church in Katuwapitia, where 92 victims of the terror attack are buried. There was also a concelebrated mass in the church, in which all bishops of the nation took part. Meanwhile, in Ireland, Archbishop Eamon Martin has accused the government of criminalising the pastoral work of priests amid the surge of the COVID-19 pandemic. In a meeting with Health Minister Stephen Donnelly on the 19th of April, the Primate of All Ireland presented his concerns regarding the new statutory instruments on public worship put forth by the government. The Archbishop emphasised that the pastoral work of priests should be respected and deemed essential. The prelate also stressed the need to protect health and also ensure the spiritual well-being of people. The new regulation bans large gatherings, which include in-person religious services. For the first time in the Catholic sphere, grandparents and the elderly will have a day of their own. The Church will celebrate the first World Day for Grandparents and Elderly on Sunday, July the 25th, the feast of St. Anne and St. Joachim, the grandparents of our Lord. This year's theme is I Am With You Always, taken from the Gospel of Matthew chapter 28 verse 20, and it has been specially chosen by Pope Francis. The theme expresses the closeness of the Lord and the Church to every older person, especially in these challenging pandemic times. So says the statement of the Vatican's Dicastery for the Laity, Family and Life. It also says grandparents and older people are called into the mission of evangelization, proclamation and prayer, and of encouraging young people in their faith. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us again tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.